Bro, why the fuck does this always happen? It's random. OBS sometimes will choose to just not use this microphone. I don't know what it is that causes that. I don't know why it happens. It's annoying as fuck. Anyways, look, I'm back to Mario Kart. I did some lightweight React stuff last time, which is why I wasn't playing Mario Kart. This time I am playing Mario Kart because I want to keep making progress in this game. I don't know if I'll be able to get every P mission. I'll definitely probably be able to get all the P switch question mark switches eventually. I think I had to stop with one of these. Like I had to cut it short. Maybe. But this time it's just gonna be news stuff for the most part. Um, the main thing that I wanted to talk about was actually two main things, and that was the ice raids that are meeting increasing pushback, and the nature of ice as an institution and how they basically need to be basically in line with what the fucking Lincoln Project and others have said. They need to be not just relegated to the dustbin of history, but they need to face the music at a like some kind of criminal tribunal, uh, uh, and like, you know, they can't be allowed in a place of power again. And honestly, you have to, on some level, you also have to hold the agents, well, on some level, on principle, you have to hold the agents responsible for the atrocities that ICE has committed in over the years, and especially during this administration, the blatant kidnapping and fucking black bagging and disappearing of migrants, and some of them even U.S. citizens and residents and stuff. In fact, many of them legal residents, because the directives are coming from the top down to just like, yeah, fucking like grab people to detain them and deport them, and then like it doesn't actually matter that much if they are really legal or illegal immigrants, or whether they're immigrants at all, in fact. Oh, there's a panel here. Very nice. So let's start with that. I have a link here to the LA Times. Many people have seen this, will have seen this video already, but I wanted to talk a little bit about this. FBI investigating man who appeared to shoot at agents during Camarillo immigration raid. The you know, warrantless raids and whatnot, and black bagging that ICE has engaged in has actually resulted in one instance where I think they showed up like in typical ICE fashion, which is to say with no identification or warrant, because of course that's, you know, that's kind of the main feature of ICE, is that they are the like raw thug, like thuggish authority of the state personified. And because there was unidentified masked armed individuals kidnapping people, one guy who had a gun actually shot at them. As far as I remember, that's like what was happening. It might have been, I think it may have been one of those raids on a farm where they were like looking to detain and deport a bunch of farm workers. I'm starting to understand the mechanics of the game a little bit here with the wall writing. Let's take a look at this article. Fuck you, LA Times. I'm not subscribing. The FBI is investigating a possible shooting that it says took place on Thursday And this was published on July 11th, so it'd be just this past Thursday. During an immigration enforcement operation at a cannabis farm in Camarillo, where hundreds of protesters clashed with federal agents. So, in California, weed is legal, so there are cannabis farms, and so I know that there are a lot of right wingers online who have been sort of whinging dishonestly because that's kind of the only way they know how to engage with a subject. About how, like, oh, something criminals, illegal drugs or whatever. No, it's actually legal in the state of California. And on the off chance that there are some people that don't know which states weed is or isn't legal in, because it is a state-by-state matter, it is legal in the state of California. So there was no, not even an allegation of any legal wrongdoing, aside from the fact that, I don't know, maybe they had, like, too many brown people working on their farm, which is not a legal thing, it's just a, I'm fucking racist thing. You know? Let's get to the goal here. Oh, no. Hopefully there's enough margin for error here that I will be able to still get to the goal after hitting one obstacle. So long as I don't hit another one. Yeah, I should be able to do it. Yeah, I'm good, I think. Yay! Nice. ABC 7 News captured video of what appears to be a man shooting at federal agents after smoke canisters were fired into the crowd in an attempt to disperse protesters. I do love the use of passive voice whenever we talk about weapons used by the government, where it's like, oh yeah, a guy shot at the police after like chemical weapons were used. Like, used by who, I wonder? Of course, that's the point. That's the point of, like, phrasing things in this way. You know, gotta earn that paycheck from the fucking donor daddies, wherever however the command structure ultimately works on a granular level. It's like there's constantly a pro-police and anti-civil liberties bias in news. And this is how a lot of times how they get away with it, is that they very, very, like, fastidiously attribute any sort of blame for anything negative that happens to like protesters or people who are on the receiving end of state violence, rather than the state who mets out that violence. There were no reports of anyone being wounded. It is also unclear what kind of weapon the person was reportedly holding. It looked like a handgun. I've seen the video. I don't think I can show it on stream because it involves brandishing a firearm or something like that, and that is a big no-no on twitch.tv. But yeah, it looked like a hand. I mean, he was holding it in one hand, so if it was a real, weapon of some kind, it would have been, handgun. Oops. And I know that in California, gun laws are also pretty strict. So maybe they could probably come at this with the argument of like, oh, well, the gun laws. But honestly, I think that even in a state such as California, with gun laws such as what they have over there, I think it's still perfectly legal if like armed, masked individuals who refuse to identify themselves try to kidnap you or somebody that you are with. I think you're actually like in your rights to defend yourself against that. You know, I don't, not to say it's like a stand your ground law or something, but like if you are being attacked with by a, I don't know, armed force, then you have the right to defend yourself with armed force, as you know, if they are not like strictly identified as agents of the state. And common to all of these ICE raids, you will notice, because this article isn't going to mention whether or not they identified themselves, which means they didn't identify themselves, they never have a warrant. You know, a lot of people are very good about this stuff. They, you know, they know their rights. They're like, all right, name and badge number. You know, can I see some ID? What's your name? What's your badge number? Identifying markings of any sort. And the ICE agents just literally never give it to them. Even in footage of like cops, right? Like we all know how bad American cops are, right? Even in footage that involves American cops, very frequently they will have a badge or badge number visible, right? And even local police officers, before they get to the part where they shoot your dog, usually like if they're knocking at your door or something, they do have to identify themselves, and they do that. You know, I've seen videos of some of the scummiest interactions imaginable, of course, with local cops, but they do identify themselves before they beat you to death or just shoot you. The ICE agents don't even do that. What the fuck? I hate when this happens. Let me get up there, maybe over here. The FBI is now offering a $50,000 award. That's rich. For information leading to the conviction of the person who appeared to fire a pistol at federal officers at 2:26 p.m. on Laguna Road. Oh, fuck you, LA Times. Nah, I'm not reading the details of this. I ain't gonna help you. I'm not a fucking narc. That like LA Times is like, we need to apprehend this individual. You know, literally, like I was just about to say, this is some Luigi Mangione shit all over again, right? Of course, like anybody who rats this guy out to the authorities, you're not getting the fucking reward. They're never letting you see a dime of that money. Are you kidding? Nah, absolutely not. You know, there was a like McDonald's worker or whatever that identified, you know, again, allegedly Luigi Mangione, and they never saw a dime of that money. And of course, there could be two reasons as to why that is, right? Number one could be because, well, they have no intention of giving out that money to begin with, which I believe is true. But number two is because what everybody suspects and what is really starting to happen is that the surveillance state is ramping up to such a degree. There's such a pronounced surveillance state that they don't even need to go through the trouble. In fact, this is all just theater. The whole like wanted reward, like please contact us with information if you have it or whatever. Like they don't actually need to do that because they can just illegally tap into every single camera in the city to find exactly where this happened, who this guy was, and then just like arrest him in some other kind of warrantless search, warrantless raid. Like ICE has been doing exclusively warrantless raids and been acting almost entirely extrajudicially. You know, what the fuck is going to stop the FBI, another completely unaccountable federal department, from doing the same, right? Back to the article. During the operation, a violent agitator fired a gun at our brave officers. Dog, the propaganda here is so, like, blunt, inartful, and sloppy. Man, you put me in charge of the Ministry of Truth, I will cook up some shit. You know, this guy is not cooking, whoever this is. DHS Assistant Secretary of Public Affairs, Trisha McLaughlin. Okay, Trisha McLaughlin, she's not cooking with that. She will never cook. We will prosecute to the fullest extent of the law anyone who assaults or doxes federal law enforcement. They misspelled dox. Certified boomer moment. LA Times doesn't know what the internet is. Or something. That a panel over there? No, I don't know. Federal law enforcement officers arrested nearly 200 people without documentation during Thursday's operation, she said. If that's her word, then I'm willing to bet that they are lying. If like, God, the administration lies with such consistency, frequency, and ease that it's like, it's impossible to tell when they're lying and when they're not. But like, I don't think it would matter. She's probably lying because that's what the administration does. Oh, there's a P-switch over there. But if they're not, then like, that's bad anyway, because America depends on immigrant farm laborers, documented or otherwise. You know, it doesn't matter whether they are documented or undocumented. America needs them. You know, they're just like, they're just fucking loser psychos who hate immigrants. Oh shit. Okay. Oh, okay, I see what this is. This is the classic Donkey Kong level, or at least it's styled after it. I have done it. Cleared a mission. Very nice. How many panels have I gotten? Already 4? I actually don't remember, like, most of those panels. What the fuck? That's crazy. A pro-Trump Twitter account asked whether Governor Gavin Newsom would condemn the shooting. The governor clapped back, writing, "Of course I condemn any assault on law enforcement, you shit poster." Now due January 6th, Newsom added, referring to the insurrection of the Capitol. So basically, the centrist lib did the most that a centrist lib would be capable of, which is like, yeah, I support the cops. Do you support the cops that were at the Capitol on January 6th? And of course, like, sure, it's like, haha, got him, but like, these people don't care. And it's kind of like, I appreciate the participation in the like humiliation ritual, the collective humiliation of MAGA is never an unwelcome sight per se. But we know that like Gavin Newsom is basically on a similar level. Picture how authoritarian liberals like Emmanuel Macron are willing to be, and how reactionary they are with respect to queer rights and their treatment of minorities. And you could pretty fairly transpose that onto Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom is like the American version of the extremely reactionary European lib. You know? Where's this last panel, I wonder? Oh, that's coins. Trump orders are Tom Homan decried the incident. I said months ago it's going to end up with the loss of life, he told Fox News. Okay, glazing the ICE agents. You know, there wouldn't be a loss of life if ICE wasn't running around being the Gestapo. But I guess you know, I guess the standard response to that is, you know, we can't all get what we want now, can we? I already got that one. Okay, so, oh wait, can I get on there? Can't. I'm riding the fucking elevator, dude. Yeah, take me up there. This is cool. Thursday's protests erupted after scores of federal agents and National Guard members descended upon a marijuana growing site for Glasshouse Farms at 645 Laguna Road. Agents were executing a search warrant on the farm and arrested several individuals on suspicion of impeding the operation. Literally, okay, when they say a search warrant, I'm almost positive they mean an administrative warrant. There's no fucking shot that they got a court, like a judicial warrant to search this place, right? The administrative warrant is just them saying like, yeah, haha, Lamau, we can search these premises. Like ICE writes their own warrants. This is a thing I can... What isn't it? How? There's no, no panel there. Oops. I could drive down there. Let me check down here. Oh, there's a P mission that I haven't done yet. Let's go ahead and grab this one. Ride the pipes to get the launch pad's blue coins. Okay. I will do that. Oh, sorry, the random split-second button press. And this is the last one. Nice. Oh, wait, right. I usually have my camera up there. Let me change this real quick. Hold up. Timer is not cooperating with me. There we go. Good. Let's see. 10 miners without documentation were found on the farm during the raid. Oh yeah, they kidnapped a bunch of kids and the kids' parents as well. And, you know, hauled them off to God fucking knows where. Probably some facility where we'll never see them again. Or worse yet, to the fucking alligator Auschwitz facility down in Florida, where we still might not ever see them again. Or if we do, it's going to be in an absolute state. The facility is now... Wait. The facility is now under investigation for child labor violations. Which facility? The farming facility? I guess that would make sense if there were kids on the farm. Because, you know, yeah, child labor is pretty bad. But this is clearly, like, the administration obviously doesn't principally care about child labor because this is the Republican Party we're talking about. Their entire economic platform is bring back child labor and other such human rights violations. The more than likely, this is being used as a sort of legal mode of leverage to hold over this farm or to hold over other places of employment as well, that they could, you know, like, hey, if you don't comply with our searches, if you don't like let us come search your facilities or refuse to let us kidnap all the like undocumented people or even documented people, they don't fucking care, that are working on site here, then we could potentially just you know, open an investigation into something real or imagined to, you know, make life hell for you. That is I think the strategy that's occurring here. Oh, that was wacky. Where would this last panel be? It's not on the trucks, I hope. Yeah, no, That wouldn't really make sense. Oh, it wouldn't be up there, would it? How would I get there? Okay. How would I get up there? Okay, let's start with the essential building block to any routing such as this. I need a feather. There's a feather. Now what I want to do is find a truck that can ramp me up there. Right? I think that's the plan. Ventura County Fire Department was dispatched to the scene at 12:15 p.m. and transported 5 people to the hospital, treated 4 others at the scene, according to a department spokesperson. I support the fire department. Fuck the police department. The fire department are my homies now. Because they're all about, like, first aid and pulling people out of burning buildings and shit. Meanwhile, the cops are all about, you know, shooting your dog. Or you if you're black. During the hours-long demonstration, federal agents deployed tear gas and smoke canisters and fired rubber bullets at protesters. Oh, there's the direct voice. Fucking halfway down the article where they know that nobody will read. Around 35 miles up the coast in Carpinteria, federal agents raided another glass house farm growing site. Let's see. United States Representative Salud Carbajal attempted to enter the facility around noon, identifying himself as a member of Congress conducting oversight. That's right, Congress has the authority to conduct oversight, which means they get to enter any federal facility at any time, at any place that they want to. And it's not limited to their district either. Just because this guy is a representative from California, like, this happens to be in this person's district. But they are not restricted to this one facility. They are Congress people for the United States, not necessarily just for that one district, right? They could do this anywhere, and they objectively, in the Constitution, have unparalleled authority, except by, you know, other people in Congress, to do this. They get to, like, if it's a federal building, then the congressperson gets to go inside, no questions asked, to do any sort of oversight they see fit, right? But, as we see here, he was denied access by masked federal agents dressed in camouflage and holding weapons who formed a perimeter around the raid. So these fucking ICE goons decided, you know what, we're not going to let this federal politician into this federal building. Like, dog. It's like, it's a way dumber version of, like, military coup style shit. But in this instance, it, like, dog, you're a congressperson. They can't refuse you entry. That's your authority. Come back with some cops or, like, I don't know, private security. Say, yeah, they are, like, they're with me. Let us in. And they have to let you in. Basically, when these guys try to, like, stand there and look tough and whatever and deny you entry, come back with some guys on your side to look tough and be like, all right, you know, we can do this the easy way or the hard way, basically. Hello, Gotron. Welcome back. They view their work as a job, not a movement. Yeah, that's one of the problems that keeps coming up, right? Congress people objectively have the authority to do whatever the fuck, like, with regards to entering a federal facility. A lot of them just don't fucking feel like it because it's, like, not necessarily part of the job description. They're all phoning it in because they don't believe in anything. They don't believe in, like, any sort of political mission, right? Or for some of them, they are, like, at the best of times, they're, you know, delusional and impotent, but do, like, they like, at the at the best of times, they believe in something, but not hard enough to do anything. You know what I mean? And then at the worst of times, you get, yeah, the people like John Fetterman who are just like, I don't care, I'm here for the bag as long as I get paid. There's a medallion down there, so I want to get it. It's kind of hard to see. No, I didn't mean to accelerate forward there. Oh, it's that. Okay, that's going to be kind of hard to get to. It's getting frustrated when I saw that video, one video that Democrats kept talking about families. Families? I don't know what video you're talking about, I guess. When they're like, their dad believes in something, so they probably believe it. Oh. What? Oh, like they talk about their family and like an anecdotal history of like, you know, my parents came here as Italian immigrants or something, and then like they proceed to explain how that's like, you know, they basically they fucking shoot it like an ad for a Disney movie. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Just like boring corpo shit. No, no like meaningful political belief behind it ever. How the fuck do I get to that thing over there? Maybe, oh, maybe I do this. Maybe I go up here. And then... Whoa, 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 whoa! Slow down. Okay. Oh, no, wait, I know what to do. Just go up here. Then you just kind of... Oh, for... Come on. No, I missed. God dang it. This game is so... The controls in this game leave much to be desired. It's very finicky whether you can or can't control your character in the air. Anyways, I'm going to try to get back up there. But in the meantime... In light of the later alleged shooting in Camarillo, Carbajal, or Carbajal, I don't know how to pronounce that, made a prescient statement saying these tactics are creating an incendiary, hostile environment the way they're being deployed, which could lead to, regrettably, violence in the future. Yeah, no shit. It's like violence begets violence, especially when it's the fucking state. You know, like, you deployed masked agents to commit state violence to legally vulnerable populations. What the fuck did you think was going to happen, dude? Like, you know, you're there, you are the Gestapo. What the fuck did you think the consequences of your actions were going to be? That everyone would just go quietly? No. And these people are, like, they're not just, you're not just wrong, you're stupid. You know, like fucking cat in the hat ass argument, but like, it's not enough for them to be evil. They also have to be retarded over at immigration and customs enforcement. Because, you know, the fascist skull shape precludes you from being educated because fascism is an anti-education ideology. Zamir, do Democrats talk about their job, their work like it's a job opportunity? It is not just you. They are called careerists for a reason. Yeah. They were honest. They'd be like, I just want them to accept their fate and die. Who, you mean the Democrats or the LA Times or ICE? Because in all three cases, yes. Although it's not every single Democrat that's like that, but the party on the whole is pretty fucking bad. Alright, now where is this final pin? You know what? I might... Two messages were sent to 2 different times. Oh, okay. I wish they had time codes. Ah, I see. In a statement on Twitter, Glasshouse Farms said the company was visited by federal agents, fully complied with search warrants, and will provide further updates if necessary. So maybe it was a judicial warrant. Maybe this was a judicial warrant. Man, dude, this is one of the fucking drawbacks of like one of the massive downsides of like the media environment being as fucking dishonest and pro-fascist as it is that when media outlets no longer like even honestly report the facts of the situation, when they're so fastidious in protecting the artifice of state power, they exclude certain facts from the narrative. They start lying by omission, and that includes like the distinction between an actual warrant, a judicial warrant, and the warrants that ICE has been using by and large, which are what are called administrative warrants. An administrative warrant is just ICE wrote down like in fucking crayon on a sheet of paper, yeah, we get to search the facility Lamau. And then like they go in there and they're like, all right, time to fucking search this facility and round up a bunch of brown people, you know? But a judicial warrant, you actually do have to go through the process with a judge and get a judge's signature in order to have the legal authority granted to you by the courts to do a search that might otherwise be considered like a violation of privacy or something like that. You know? They're probably banking on the fact that a lot of people are spineless. Yeah, I mean, that is ultimately like, that's the rationale behind administrative warrants. And in part it works because like every warrant, legitimate or not, is backed up by the threat of state force. ICE being, well, an armed federal agency with, you know, hired goons, they represent the threat of violence from the state, even if it is a very street level and non-legalistic version of that. So they're able to get away with that, especially because there's no real threat of accountability for them either. You know, the state, the only way that accountability works is if the accountability measures also have the threat of state violence behind them. Also, what's up, bro, the boss? Welcome back. I was just reading this LA Times article about a raid that happened where a very famous video emerged of a protester actually shooting a gun, like a handgun, it seemed, at ICE agents. And for once, interestingly enough, one thing that's notable about this situation, I didn't hear a whole lot from the right about how dare they shoot at the federal officers, right? Like, it didn't seem like that narrative really caught on. It seems like the majority of people, even a lot of normies, were kind of like, yeah, obviously, if there's a bunch of unmasked, unidentified thugs that are here to kidnap a bunch of people who are working in the fields, like, you obviously, like, you don't know what department they're from or whatever. Was it an illegal search? I actually don't know. I didn't trust the LA Times reporting on it. They said that ICE had a warrant to search the facility. If it's legal, it wouldn't have made it good. ICE did not announce themselves. They did not identify themselves. They just deployed kind of like a military or militant force. You know, and in such circumstances, you would be in your right to defend yourself with a gun. If there are armed individuals who, even if they have the word police written on a like bulletproof vest, like that's still not an identification. If there's no name or badge number disclosed to you, yeah, they're just brown shirts. They're nothing better than brown shirts. And that means that they don't have like the requisite legal identification to justify their presence. And that means basically they're there to kidnap you. They're there to fucking violate your human rights 6 ways from Sunday. And it like, if you took this to court, what I'm saying is that guy would be found innocent, and it would be found as self-defense, because like we know the consequences of ICE like detaining people in these facilities, like the one down in Florida, the fucking alligator Auschwitz. And I've still yet to find this last question mark panel. This tends to happen. I find 4 of them really quick, and then the 5th one is just impossible. Oh, there's a medallion. Yeah, it like I don't know if it ever. I feel like a lot of these ICE agents are too stupid and too drunk on the power of the state to realize that if you don't identify yourself and refuse to identify yourself, and you start like threatening people and fucking just clumsily swinging the force of the state without like doing any sort of legal identification or whatever, like you're gonna get yourself shot. Like there's the possibility of that, even if it's very remote. And like even the most proceduralist pro cop individual should be very sympathetic to this guy in this situation, because it's like, dog, imagine if some guy dressed like a cop shows up at my door and I ask them like name and badge number, and because they have no visible badge, and like they won't tell me. That's not actually a cop. That's a guy that's probably there to kill me. So in that instance, it's either me or him, and I choose me every day of the week. Thank you. Yeah, legitimately like Second Amendment moment. Yeah, I mean the reason that ICE even behaves in this way, they probably have been given the go ahead from inside DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, or some other part of the Trump administration. They probably have been given the go ahead to just do whatever they want, because they're like, yeah, there's no consequences for us anyway. You know? Israel bombed Syria, and some dickhead on TV saying, oh, it reminded them of October 7th, they just have PTSD, dude. What, they really said that? That's insane, dude. In the history books, this will be a WTF moment. The history books are going to remember this as, like, a fucking massive societal political crash out. Like, the whole 21st century so far is going to be remembered as that. Like, genuinely, it's some insane shit. More or less. Damn. I mean, it, like... Western nations have committed so hard to the bit, like... God. And you know what's really grim is I actually don't know how much accountability Israel's really going to face. Because you think about the justification that Israel uses to pursue these crimes of war, these crimes against humanity, and they so frequently victim post about, oh, you know, the Jews were victims of the Holocaust, so now we should actually get to do our own Holocaust, actually. And it like, never mind the fact that obviously that's fucking unhinged and insane and makes zero sense and is cartoon villain shit, right? It's like, it's just it's a very I guess abrogatory line. It is a line that's very uniquely tailored to Western countries that are like bought into a lot of the liberal institutionalism that they sort of use to revise narratives of like how the Nazis were defeated and how they ought to be held accountable, right? Does that make sense? Oh wow, I actually managed to land up here. That's kind of crazy. Oh, was this must have been where that one medallion was. Oh, there's coins up there. How the fuck do you get up there? I was debating my family. They said Obama was just as bad as Trump for deporting. I'd remind them that Obama made the Dreamer program, made work programs for undocumented immigrants, and only deported criminals. Uh, that's not entirely true. I think he did actually deport families as units as well, Obama. But yes, unequivocally, like, Trump is worse than Obama. But it is important to recognize that, like, Obama and Clinton and Biden, the three previous Democratic presidents, you know, mostly Clinton and Obama, set the ground that Trump is now building this palace of fascism upon, right? Like, the ways in which Obama was bad for immigration, on immigration, the ways in which Clinton was bad on immigration, are ways in which both of them resemble Trump. You know? Maybe it's true that every type of personality exists, no matter how ridiculous. Mostly criminals, sorry. Yeah, no, look, it's okay. You know, everybody isn't fucking read up on all the, like, internal immigration policy of previous administrations and shit. Like, you know. The bulk of the argument is correct. And the sentiment of it is correct either way as well. I still have many gripes with Obama, as do I. How do I get down there? Right, I'm looking at... That is one coin. I only remember Obama as the person that talks funny. True. He also got, like, a Gmod Nextbot. Like, one of the Gmod, you know those, like, creepy Gmod bot things that, like, chase you around? There's one of those that's like, an edited version of Obama, and it's really fucking creepy. But it's also really funny because it's like, oh shit, Obama is chasing me. You're in the US, you're raised on capitalism. Capitalism's good, brown people are bad, and billionaires are awesome. Yeah. Can't blame Americans for being uninformed. Oh yeah, the stupidity of Americans is by no means an immutable quality of our humanity, right? What it is just a product of the media environment in which we find ourselves, right? The media environment that makes Americans really, really dumb was intentionally engineered with the purpose of, well, keeping us dumb. You know, all of those narratives aren't natural things. They had to be engineered. I couldn't see whether or not there was a panel up there. Yeah, people are products of their environment. How do I get... Okay. I almost don't know where a... like... Where a panel could be that isn't somewhere that I'd have to look up. It's gotta be up there, dude. In the right circumstances, everyone can be Hitler. Yeah, this is, what is it? Hitler particles? Not every exasperated petty bourgeois will become Hitler, but there is a particle of Hitler in every petty bourgeois, or every exasperated petty bourgeois. Shoutouts to Trotsky for that one. You know, the Hitler particles, the idea that, like, given the right circumstances and enough indoctrination and reactionary propaganda, anybody could be Hitler. And the right wing understands that, funnily enough. The right wing is surprisingly, like, engaging with a lot of Marxist ideas from a very anti-Marxist, anti-socialist perspective, in that they're willing to acknowledge the validity of certain ideas that Marx wrote about, or that historical materialists will talk about at length, for the purpose of evil things, right? Like propaganda, particularly. The Republicans have been churning that propaganda machine because they recognize the opinions of people are not immutable. And if you want your side to politically gain power, you have to build that power base. You have to do that by shaping people's opinions. People are products of their environment. So you have to shape their environment. You have to make it so that people's environment are ripe for them to have an opinion that will reflect yours, you know? And for the far right, that means churning out that, like, anti-immigrant propaganda. And that works, especially when there's no counter to that narrative being established. What track is this? DK Spaceport. It's been a couple days since Superman came out. I saw people making videos. Yeah, I want to see Superman, but I'm trying to avoid spoilers. I already know that it's basically like, oh yeah, Superman is the benevolent superhero that saves Gazan children from Israeli bombing campaigns and then like kills an analog of Benjamin Netanyahu. And I was like, oh cool, I should see this movie then. And I know that that's also why a bunch of right-wingers got mad at it, because it's like, you shouldn't kill minorities actually. And right-wingers like, it's woke, I want to kill minorities. Oh, what? I was never finding that one. Are you kidding me? Oh, that's dumb as hell. Am I heading the right way? Yes, I am. Discourse about the movie has been so funny. I ought to take a look at that if I can. I actually have the other main thing I have. Yeah, respecting minorities is the woke Hollywood agenda. Many such cases. There is actually another bit of like, I guess you could consider it social media discourse that that I had like in mind for this as one of the like main events, and it was, funnily enough, it was the Jeffrey Epstein stuff. So I guess I could talk about that first. I've talked about Jeffrey Epstein and the Epstein files and the Epstein client list. Oh, I can't look at the discourse without it being spoiled? Okay, so I'll watch the movie first, and then I will see the glorious discourse. But the right wing has actually, most of the punditry, okay, so this is one of the ones I already got, has fallen in line on the, like, there's no client list actually narrative about Jeffrey Epstein. So how the f do you do that? Top of the rock. What the fuck? Okay. Y'all see that rocket up there? The last panel is up there, apparently. Alright, I guess I'll kind of make my way up there as I talk about the Epstein client list and all that stuff. I have actually a bunch of links for this. I went through the trouble of like cataloging the various ways in which the right-wing pundit class is responding to this, and by responding to it, I mean like trying to gaslight their followers and the right-wing base into being like pro-Epstein, basically. So first things first, let's take a look at this Axios article with some of the latest news from Congress about the Epstein client list, colloquially known as the Epstein files. House GOP, gang of pedophiles, of course, this is what GOP actually stands for, blocks second Democratic attempt to release the Epstein files. The Democrats actually, to their credit, shoutouts to Ro Khanna for this one. The Ro Khanna cycle goes strong, doing the correct thing exactly 50% of the time. The man is like 100% unreadable, like completely unpredictable. I have no idea what he's going to do. Ro Khanna introduced, I believe, an amendment to something that was going on in Congress where it was like, yeah, we need to release the contents and also like get a hold of the contents of the Epstein files. Okay, there's that panel. So that like people can see it, so we can know who's implicated and who's compromised. And the GOP was like, nah. In fact, it didn't even get to the floor, I think. You know, the floor of the House is where they usually vote, where it's like all the representatives, you know, 200 something to 200 something. It didn't even get out of the dumb fuck committee where like there's like 10 people. No, Axios, I'm not subscribing. Oh, for fuck's sake. Where's the fucking... Okay, this must be why they didn't want you block origin. Okay. 12-foot ladder. 12-foot IO, maybe? Ah, come on, internet. What are you doing? What are you doing? Okay. Oops. God damn it, Axios. Oh my god, Axios, I fucking hate you so much. Dog, I'm here trying to talk about some, like, some shit relating to Jeffrey Epstein, and Axios is like, no, you need a paywall, sorry. Fuck you. Have you considered fucking yourself? Okay. Paste. Maybe this? No, 12 foot's just not going to load. Open with archive.is. Nope. Archive.is is not working. That's not working. That's not working. Brother. Axios, you fucking piece of shit. Dog. Wait! One of them worked. One of them worked. Hold up. I actually have access to this article now. Fuck yes. Thank you, archive.org. Alright. Let it be known, Axios did not make its newspaper available to read for free, even if it's the fucking Jeffrey Epstein files. House GOP blocks second Democrat attempt to release Epstein files. House Republicans on Tuesday voted down another Democratic procedural maneuver aimed at forcing the Justice Department to release documents related to Jeffrey Epstein. This is the second time this week Democrats have forced their GOP colleagues to choose between loyalty to Trump and a MAGA base that is furious at his administration over its handling of the Epstein files. This isn't really a choice, as I will explain later, but it is nonetheless a good political move to try to force this. Democrats are already promising future votes. Okay, fuck it. Like, Democrats actually do something for once. Challenge, difficulty. They might actually do it this time. That probably was not the last time you're going to see us deal with this issue, according to House Rules Committee ranking member Jim McGovern. Okay. Republicans dismissed the vote as a cynical partisan ploy, with Representative Tim Burchett telling Axios, it's just politics, it's not about protecting little children, and that ticks me off. Oh, great. Releasing the fucking most incriminating documents possible about a pedophile ring of power brokers to implicate other people who were involved in this, like, ring and also subsequent cover-up is just a political ploy that doesn't protect children. Dog, you are on my brother in Christ, you are on the pedophile list. Like, this is the only fucking conceivable reason that you'd be like, actually, this doesn't help. Yeah, okay, sure. This is, funnily enough, I'll get to this in a minute, but this is not that different. What that Republican representative said is not that different from what Tim Pool said on Twitter about the subject. Oddly enough. Or I guess not oddly enough, they all get paid by the same people. They're all part of the same fucking pedophile ring, right? So I guess it makes sense that they would all have the same talking points. I think I need to go up here. What happened? The House voted 211 to 210. Oh, wait, it did get to the floor, and they still voted against it. Well, there you go. 211 members of Congress just fucking implicated themselves in the Epstein files by voting against their release. They voted against Representative Ro Khanna's measure to force the DOJ to publish the Epstein files online within 30 days. Democrats' procedural motion would have scuttled the GOP's legislative agenda for the day in favor of the Khanna bill, making it difficult for Republicans to vote for it. Oh, yeah, sure, Axios. Be like, actually, the reason Republicans voted for this is because they had other things to do today. No, you fucking dumbass, you, like, dishonest morons. They voted against it because they're all in the fucking list, and they don't want that shit, like, getting aired out like their dirty laundry or whatever. How does that happen? Dog, the controls in this game are so goddamn inconsistent. It's like I'm driving on soap. The vote fell along party lines, with all Democrats who were present voting for their party's maneuver and all Republicans voting against it. Predictable, as usual. Republicans, the pro-pedophilia party, naturally. Since they are conservatives. Pedocon theory undefeated. It came after Republicans on the House Rules Committee voted Monday night against attaching Epstein language to a broader cryptocurrency and defense funding vote. Oh, so I get it. So they were like, oh yeah, we need to give this funding to the fucking Defense Department and the intelligence agencies, which, by the way, Jeffrey Epstein was an intelligence asset. I'm sure everybody probably knows that part. So, you know, we don't want a silly little thing like exposing a goddamn pedophile ring to get in the way of, like, us spending more money on the Pentagon again. That would be no good. How the fuck am I supposed to get up there? Seriously, this is the highest point on the map. I can't go any further up. Using wide... Wait, okay. It says there's a barrel that I have to use. Is it? It's got to be that barrel up there, right? Has to be. At this point, I wonder if even revealing it would change anybody's mind. Because, like, everybody knows. Yeah, that is actually a feature of, that's a feature of the MAGA base that they might not even realize. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But again, that's something I'll get to in just a minute. Let me go through the rest of this Axios article. There's not that much left of it. Let's see, something that, one Republican voted for the measure in the Rules Committee. Wait, okay. Representative Ralph Norman from South Carolina voted for the measure in the committee, so before it had gotten to the floor. And then once it was on the floor, he voted against it. Fucking classic. Dude, they're all making excuses. They're all making excuses. Ralph Norman, representative from South Carolina, is trying to cover his ass by saying, like, oh yeah, I believe in transparency, which is why I voted for it in the committee, and then didn't vote for it in the actual, like, voting process. Like, you know, hoping that people overlook that part. And then, like, yeah, he said, this guy, Ralph Norman, votes for it in the committee, then says, oh, you know, I trust Attorney General Pam Bondi to look into it, motherfucker. And then Representative Cloud from Texas offered the explanation, like, oh, you know, Republicans just vote against Democrats on procedural stuff, so this shouldn't be an exception. Dog! We all know why these people are voting against the release of the Epstein files. It's because they're in the fucking files. I actually get in? Oh, I do need a feather, don't I? Wait, no, hold on. That wouldn't send me that way. Where the fuck is the barrel? It's not, so it's not that barrel. What other barrel points at that? There isn't one. Let me get over here. The other side. These guys have trafficked conspiracy theories for as long as I can remember, and it's coming home to bite them in the ass, and they don't know how to deal with it, said McGovern. This is the Democratic, I think, chair of the Rules Committee or something. They riled up a base that is demanding more information, and because they're more afraid of Trump than they are their own constituents, they're providing him a circle of protection. Despite his party rejecting the Kana measure, Speaker Mike Johnson said in an interview that we should put everything out there and let the people decide it. Motherfucker, you voted against it. They're all like trying to gaslight their constituents. And the worst part is that it is going to work, ultimately. They are going to be successful in fucking gaslighting their constituents into forgetting about this whole thing. Which is the fucked up part. Johnson said that White House staff are privy to facts that I don't know, but he believes that Bondi needs to come forward and explain that to everybody. Ah, yes, the classic I trust my friends in the government fucking line. Small government conservatives, by the way, want you to trust the government as it covers up a goddamn sex trafficking ring. You can't make this shit up, dude. Right-wingers literally tried to make this shit up, and they couldn't. And then here's the version of it that's actually happening. And all the Republicans are like, yeah, we're going to vote against the release of this information, actually. Now let's take a look at what the punditry is saying. That's the politicians who are connected to the punditry. So Tim Pool on Twitter has decided to go with this. I'm just going to go pundit by pundit. Has decided to go with the very weird line that somehow publishing the Epstein files would be like publishing child porn, be like releasing that to the public, which is a wild amount of like playing dumb that I'm surprised that anybody. Well, I'm surprised that people bought into it, and I'm surprised at the same time that people didn't buy into it, because like his base will literally believe anything that he says eventually, like the right-wing base. Bro is acting like the fucking redact function doesn't even exist. You don't actually have to release all the tapes of children being sexually abused. You can just release a description of what happens in the tapes and be like, yeah, we'd rather not publish the actual tape, but here's like the transcript or something. Get like some fucking poor stenographer is gonna suffer for that one, but like it's worth it. So that's Tim Pool, where he's like, actually, we shouldn't publish the Epstein files because there's child porn in there. Therefore, we should let Epstein and rather the sex trafficking ring and power broking ring that he left in his wake. We should just let them to continue abusing children, so that we don't have to go through material that is evidence of them abusing children. Genius argument. Charlie Kirk has gone with a much more straightforward version of the I trust my friends in the government line. Here's a clip of him. I'm not going to play the clip, but I'm going to read the quote here. I think I don't want to play like the video and audio and whatever. I have links for this stuff. If this becomes a segment, I will link those in the description. Charlie Kirk says, I'm done talking about Epstein. I'm going to trust my friends in the government. He just says that. And it's a short, like, 15-second clip of him. You can watch the full clip, but it's, like, the same context is there. I'm not subjecting myself to any more of Charlie Kirk than I have to. Ben Shapiro, took the line of, like, this kind of the same line, the like trust the extremely compromised government officials about this. He like He said, I'm sorry, something like, I'm sorry you're too much of a conspiracy theorist to trust honest people like Kash Patel and Dan Bongino about Jeffrey Epstein. Kash Patel, who participated in this fucking outright 180-degree spin from, like, we have the Epstein files, we'll release it on day one, to, like, there's actually no client list. Shut the fuck up. Go back to sleep or something. You know? Then Lance from the Surfs, shoutouts to the Surfs TV. He got in on the action for looking at these pundits. I thank him greatly for making me have to do that much less drudgery through the goddamn tweets of people like Charlie Kirk and Benny Johnson. Benny Johnson, oddly enough, is trying out the, actually, they're working on it just in secret and they can't tell us about it. Yeah, you should trust them because they're working on it. They might release it someday. With a, exchange between Charlie Kirk and Benny Johnson from a little while ago. I think this would have been from a couple days ago at this point. Johnson says, just got off the phone with a top federal law enforcement contact. The change in approach to Epstein has been dramatic. Expect more disclosures. Some very powerful people inside the admin are now pushing for a special counsel and a full press briefing on the Epstein findings. So basically, he's getting on board with the kind of laundering of the cover-up, basically, where they're part of the cover-up is them saying, oh, we're not actually covering it up because we're still investigating it or some shit. That's what Benny Johnson is doing, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 pundits so far. Then, number 5, we get Russell Brand. Again, shout-outs to Lance from the Surfs, because he dug this shit up, and I don't have to dig it up myself. Russell Brand has decided to go the vague posting route. And in so doing, attempt to, like, gaslight people into thinking, wait, is Trump even on the list? Maybe he's not on the list. But what Russell Brand says is in the tweet, it's a 1-minute 40 video clip. I'm not watching a minute 40 of Russell Brand. I care about my brain cells. Generally speaking, I think you're better off with President Trump than anyone who's going to emerge out of the Democrat Party, hands down. People are tired of polished politicians, and we're starting to see why. Many are blackmailed, compromised, and controlled. Basically trying to redirect the narrative away from Trump, who was, by his own admission, Epstein's best friend, and you know, is fucking, like, is crashing out over the concept of the Epstein client list and telling people desperately to shut up. You know, and of course, Russell Brand also, because Russell Brand is actually a very competent propagandist. He's very good at what he does, I think. It's just that, like, now that they've consolidated and collapsed into the right, that kind of gets lost because they don't have to onboard anybody anymore, but, you know, he puts a little lesser evilism flair on it. Russell Brand's a British nonce who fled to the U.S. And found Jesus to get out of being held accountable for assaulting women. Oh, yes, I know that. This is, as the Surf says, this is pedophile rapist solidarity. He sexually assaulted, in fact, allegedly raped a 16-year-old girl, and grifted to the right, or rather doubled down on his already existing grift to the right to avoid being held accountable for that. So, you know. Unsurprisingly, pedophiles are defending other pedophiles here from the accusations of pedophilia. Then the last of the pundits that I wanted to take a look at. It sometimes makes me think I don't need to pay attention to politics since I feel like I know everything. Right? Doesn't it give you that feeling where it's like, what else is there even to analyze? The right wing is evil, full of pedophiles, and they want to kill you. You know, like yeah. Anyways, the last pundit is the one with the most, I think, tonal whiplash out of the bunch. Sorry, there's not much in the way of gameplay here, but this is a little bit of a deep dive. At least it's a deeper dive than I'm used to taking. I mean, I'll leave it to the people who do this shit, like research this shit in depth to do the deep dive. But you know, my ADHD is getting to me too hard to know where to start with that. Alex Jones initially was shocked, like I think everybody else was, that that the administration decided to just straight up say there's no client list. We're not publishing it. Also, it doesn't exist. And also, if it exists, Trump isn't in there. And also, if he's in there, it's like not even that bad or something. Alex Jones started crying. He did a video where he cried and was like, "Guys, Trump is compromised. I don't know what's going on. Like, I thought he was our ally. You know, the betrayal is massive," or something like that. And then he later went and tested the waters for what the rest of the right-wing punditry has fell in line on, which is that like, oh, the administration's just playing 4D chess. They're trying to blackmail the blackmailers. I think that was some of the terminology that he used. In fact, the MAGA chuds were actually pretty mad at him for this. You know, this random guy that I pulled this from, breaking, it's official, the Trump administration has tainted MAGA influencer Alex Jones. We will never accept this nonsense from our president. Epstein has left a stain on the U.S. On United States history that we demand be cleaned up. Hashtag Alex Jones, hashtag Trump pedophiles, and hashtag Epstein. So this person being like really mad that the administration has decided to like cover this up, and that Alex Jones is now on board with the cover-up. What's Alex Jones doing these days after he got nuked? Oh, he's still doing InfoWars. He still has InfoWars. He still does that. Because the court system never punishes right-wingers for anything. He's part of the far-right pipeline. He's part of that capital-funded propaganda machine for the Nazis. So he never gets any sort of meaningful punishment. Sure, maybe he went through some financial troubles, but he's back. He's back in it for that bag. He's posting on Twitter. He does his InfoWars show. He records phone videos sometimes. Same as it ever was. But I think Alex Jones actually being more narrative savvy, at least than some of them, actually realized that it might not pay out to be on the I believe the administration side of things, because he's since actually gone back into holy shit, the administration is covering this up, they're all compromised, this is a massive betrayal, right? Huge nightmare development. Trump doubles down on Epstein cover-up after saying he supported a new DOJ investigation earlier today. Why is 47 making the worst moves of his tenure in the last 9 years? This is beyond fucked up. I can't do that, Alex. Dude, that hurts. Oh my god, I shouldn't have done that. But yeah, see, now he's back at, like, you know, Trump, like, I don't know what the fuck is going on, like, Trump has betrayed us, and he's even still couching his rhetoric in saying that, oh, he's making a mistake, and stuff like that. But there's a lot of turmoil right now, you know, within the right-wing media space. Of course, and you combine that with the government itself, the FBI and the Department of Justice. Yeah, like he's so deep into the tinfoil hat kind of audience that he legitimately, it would be worse for his career for him to say, oh, well, Trump's trying to blackmail the blackmailers. And that, like, oh, you know, he actually knows what he's doing. Trust the administration, guys. But the majority of MAGA pundits have fallen in line to the actually there's no Epstein files. Shut up, stop talking about it. Right? Those are just that was just one tweet from each right-wing influencer that indicates that kind of sentiment. There is much more where that came from. I just didn't feel like subjecting myself to right-wing Twitter, i.e. most of it, to, like, get those kinds of receipts. Maybe editing me will be more inclined, but ultimately, I think I'm satisfied to just say, fucking look for yourself. I think there are various of them. I think Charlie Kirk being one where they actually said, like, stop talking about Jeffrey Epstein or something like that. It's very blatant, and I think that's to match the degree of blatant rhetoric coming from the administration itself, from the FBI, from the Department of Justice, where they have said, like, legitimately, they've said, like, there's nothing to see here. Like the FBI actually said that, like, there's no client list, there's no Epstein files, la la la, I can't hear you or some shit. After Pam Bondi saying, yeah, they're like the files are on my desk, guys. You know, we're gonna publish that shit. You know. Oh, these are the okay, finally. Cool. All right, I got it. Nice. So there's clearly there's a absolutely massive cover up coming from the Trump administration, coming from the top down on the right wing, and it is not subtle. It's very sloppy. In fact, it's really inartful the way they've tried to do this cover up. That like it is so unconvincing that even a large chunk of their base is not going for it right away. And there is a reason that I say right away, you know? Like, look, to kind of rub it in, did anybody actually think that Donald Trump, fucking associate and best friend of Jeffrey Epstein and all the other rich associates of Epstein that Trump has in his administration, weren't compromised by Epstein? The guy who was a power broker and, like, cultivated connections to powerful people so that they could be compromised and beholden to his interests? Especially, like, you know, seeing as what Trump did recently, right? Like, he crashed out on Truth Social. We've all seen the insane Truth Social posts. He got ratioed on his own website for that. If anything, it'd be more of a mystery if he wasn't on the list. Yeah, in fact, that would be like, if Trump wasn't on the list, it'd be like, that's really fucking weird. That Trump has, like, there's literally video of Trump hanging out with Epstein, them being, like, really chummy, and somehow Trump isn't on that list. I don't know, I guess Epstein decided to do our boy a favor, you know? But this is only temporary, right? Like, this right-wing infighting, it's not gonna last forever. The Dems need to capitalize on this. It seems like for once, shoutouts to Ro Khanna, because he actually is going like, holy shit, this is my opportunity. Ro Khanna cycle activate. I'm channeling all of my B-based points into this exact moment, so that I have to, you know, I can save being cringe for later, right? But there are a lot of old guard Democrats that are themselves massively compromised. Don't forget, Donald Trump is not the only person that was actually friends with Jeffrey Epstein. Hillary and Bill Clinton are also on that list. The Democrats are still dominated not just by Clinton, but by other Clinton-era Democrats of the same school of thought. The neoliberals, the do-nothing Democrats, and the people who are basically indistinguishable from Republicans. You know, and they have such a strong hold over the party. A lot of them are compromised too. They've been to Little St. James, a good chunk of them. And you can kind of tell by how some of them, such as, I believe, Chuck Schumer, have reacted to this. Generally, the younger a politician is in America, right? Especially on the Democratic side, the less likely it is that they are compromised significantly by Epstein or have been to Little St. James, you know, Epstein's island where he does all that pedophile shit. Like, for example, we know that Ro Khanna isn't compromised. We know that AOC isn't compromised. We know that Maxwell Frost isn't compromised. We know that John Ossoff isn't compromised, all because of the way they've reacted to this, calling vehemently for the release of the Epstein client list, right? If they were implicated, there would be all the reason in the world for them to simply not do so. You know, but they are. But they represent a minority in the Democratic Party. It's very much like them versus the world on this one. You know, and by the world, I mean like rich pedophiles. Right? Does that make sense? There's a lot of pressure for the Democrats to capitalize on this, to take some sort of narrative weaving power and to make something out of this. It's a little bit like a Al Capone taxes moment where it's like, of all the fucking things Republicans did, God, they recently cut off food aid. They recently, like, incinerated tons of, like, hundreds of tons of food that was supposed to go to malnourished children in the third world. Like, they fucking decided, yeah, we'll just incinerate all of that to, like, kill millions. You know, they've defunded the goddamn weather service. They've defunded literally anything that's worth a damn in the United States. And this might be the thing that does them in. But the Democrats have to make that happen. You know, the opposition, to the extent that it exists, they have to make that happen. It's not just going to fall out of the sky. I mean, hell, this is it basically falling out of the sky. They just now have to do something with it, you know? Because if they don't, then there ceases to be any threat of a counter narrative being established to the right-wing narrative. And if that happens, then the right wing is going to be successful in weaving a narrative to just make everybody fall in line again. Remember, Trump's base of support, the Republican Party, is a cult. They are a death cult. They are a doomsday cult that hates queer people, hates you and me, and wants America to die a slow and painful death, right? They, like, are perfectly fine to just let this, like, go through to lie until the cows come home so that, like, nobody will be any the wiser. And because it's a cult, people, like, don't act reasonably when they're in a cult, right? There have been a number of cults throughout American history, especially. This is one of America's strong suits is the wealth of historical knowledge on the formation and like structure of cults, like religious cults. And all the evidence we have indicates that, you know, these cults very frequently, they run on doomsday prophesizing, right? A grand narrative that eventually has to come to fruition, right? Same thing as every religion, funnily enough, that like, you know, the doomsday prophecy is going to happen. Everybody will go up to heaven. There will be a great reckoning where righteousness will win and all will be right with the world. The trick is, most religions know that you actually have to set a ambiguous date or not set a date at all for that to happen, because obviously that's not going to happen. If you commit to a certain date or a certain event that needs to happen, like a real grounded physical, you know, feasible event, it's liable that such a time comes or such circumstances arise, and then the grand narrative just isn't followed through on. And when that happens, as it has in many different cases with the Jehovah's Witnesses, with the Seventh-day Adventists, with the Millwrights, with whoever the fuck else, when that inevitably happens, you would think that the cult leaders would be disgraced, that, you know, people would realize that they've had the wool pulled over your eyes, but no, they actually doubled down. Religious cults and religious thinking is by definition irrational. You know, the belief in such a supernatural order of the world, in divine justice, in divine right, in divine power, right? So rather than have to question such a massive power structure, they'll merely tweak the narrative to keep the cult going. You know? And that's what's going to happen. Sure, a small percentage of people may very well end up leaving the cult of MAGA over this, right? Like, it may be too much for some people, but it's very likely, if history tells us anything about cults like this, they are all going to fall in line eventually. Maybe not 100% of them, but I will bet you my bottom dollar, more than 90% of the MAGA base will eventually fall in line. All the people that are justifiably very mad at Alex Jones, at Charlie Kirk, at Ben Shapiro, at Donald Trump right now, eventually they're just going to go right back to being good little piggies for the right wing. And they're going to fall in line with the Epstein. What Epstein? That guy didn't even exist, you know? What Epstein files? You guys are talking nonsense, right? There's only going to be a very small portion of them that actually leaves the cult structure over this. And the reason for that is that you have to hammer in basically a massive cycle of humiliation. You have to humiliate this cult affiliation out of people in order for them to consistently, like, leave the cult, right? There has to be that such an overwhelming and compelling narrative that it is untenable socially and politically to believe in these things, right? You literally have to bully them into submission. did it. So that's what's what on the state of like the Epstein files right now. It is really important that this should be released because like it speaks to the class divide between the like ruling class and the fucking class of people that is ruled over, right? You know, the sort of social connections within government and within other powerful institutions. And shit like that. And if you force them to air out their dirty laundry, I'm not one to engage in the whole like there will be a day of reckoning kind of narrative, right? But it does make political life a lot harder for extremely powerful people if they have to air out all their dirty laundry, including things like sex crimes against minors. You know, in public, basically. And they have to do it sooner rather than later because the right wing will fall in line. They will fall in line. It's not a question of if. What the f? How the fuck are you supposed to do that? Damn. Future me, cut the segment. How's the panel update? How about that? I think that was a panel back there. Yeah, it was. Weird ass controls in this game. Strike again. Games. Alright, I'm gonna go up there again, just not on the mission this time. Oh, what? There's a panel here. I didn't notice that. I think that makes 2. Yes. That one up there will be 3. And there's 4. There's a medallion. Go ahead and take that. Whee. Oh, finally. A good Peach costume. Now, where is the 5th? Is the 4th, I guess, panel. Yeah. For panels number 4 and 5 now. Oh. Ah. Do the tricks on the rails to collect these things. Okay, okay. Well, I fucked up already. Silly me. Okay. What the? How the fuck are you supposed to do that? How? What? That's not even possible, dude. Do you have to? Okay. I bet you actually have to do it as soon as you get each one. Yeah, okay, you do. There's no window for error there. Or rather, the window for error is very small. Hello, Albermark. Welcome to chat. Glad to have new people here. Ah, God damn it. Fucked up again. Once I get done with this blue coin mission, I can actually mention some new things that I added to my stream recently. I wanted to bring those up, but... What? You've got to be kidding me. I was holding left so hard on that, and it just gave me a regular ass hee go straight trick. Goddamn. Whoopsie. What is that? You see that? Do I have to hit that earlier? Try it again. That's... I swear if this ends up being the successful attempt, I would be... Okay, no. Main Mario, Toad, and Diddy Kong. Cool. I don't have a main character in this game. I'm just trying to unlock stuff. Though I do like, big fan of Toad, personally. There we go. Okay, yeah, you have to do that a lot earlier. Okay. Now I'm back searching for the panels. I actually added some stuff to my Twitch chat on the recommendation of a chatter. I was reminded that, like, there are a lot of things that you can do with a Twitch chat that I hadn't been doing very much, and I've revisited the subject. I decided to do some stuff with channel points, particularly. I wanted to add some fun channel point things. And I did some channel points stuff. I couldn't do a whole lot because some of the channel point, like, rewards or whatever, it doesn't exactly allow you to do things that I would want to do with it, right? Like, what I wanted to do with the channel points, right? What I initially wanted to do was have something called "Let me take a look at that vehicle," which is a reference to the classic Star Wars Battlefront. You know, where you're the engineer class and you're fixing a vehicle. He's like, "Let me take a look at that vehicle." You know, I wanted to have a channel point thing that when you redeemed it, it would play that voice line from Battlefront, from Star Wars Battlefront 2. And then you would get a little badge that was like the clone engineer helmet. But there's no way apparently for you to... Oh, there's a panel behind there. Apparently there's no way for you to do a, like, for you to do a channel point reward that gives somebody a badge, which is unfortunate. But what I later found out you could do, because I spent some time in the Twitch, like, I don't know, fucking channel, like, all the channel widgets and the stuff that lets you tweak, what all you want your channel to be like and all that stuff. And I found out you can actually have free emotes now. Like there's a free tier of emotes that didn't exist when I became a Twitch affiliate. So I actually did that. There are a couple of emotes in the repertoire of my channel's emotes that are free now. And not like, you know, not saying like the emotes from Better TTV or any of those extensions, right? No, like actual twitch.tv emotes. And then the other ones, I think there's 2 free ones, and then the rest of them are like sub emotes. which I like. I always like to have a Twitch channel that people can watch and engage with without having to spend money on it, you know? Because sometimes that's like feels missing from other channels. Better TTV and like Franker Faces and fucking 7TV, those help with this, you know? I don't know. I thought that'd be nice. Oh, there's a pipe down there. Let me go down there again. See what that pipe is. I gotta see what's down here, dude. I've gotten 4, right? Yeah, I have. Oh, is this gonna be another one of those things where there's like a panel down here somewhere? It better not be. I would be angry. Yeah, there's a waterfall there. Where does this take me? Up here. And I've already gotten that one. Huh. Where could... Okay, let's go back to the binoculars. And see where one last panel could be. Sorry, Toad. What am I looking at here? It's always the last one, isn't it? It's always the last one that gets me like this. Maybe I could check down there. See that green path next to the red path there? That could be something. Although it's awfully close to that other panel. There could be something in there. Oh, wait. No, I see it. See that over there? Okay. So, what do I have to do to get that? I think I have to go to that road, but instead of going up, I go around another way. Okay, okay. Well, that was a relatively easy panel hunt compared to the others that I've had to find. No, shit. Ah. Let me back up there. Is this the one that'll put me up there? Nope, that one puts me here, of all places. Okay, sure. Alright. Let's go back down there and something like this. Okay. Drift this way. That's not the way. Okay, you go this way. Yeah, instead of that other way. There's a pipe there, too. That's kind of strange. Here's the... Ario's my favorite outfit for Peach. I like this outfit. I like the outfits for the princesses that are like the racing jumpsuits and stuff. Alright, I've got all 5 panels there. This motherfucker is gonna... I'm saving that for later. I might actually do that last. Let's see, I've gotten... Okay, these 3 over here I have not gotten yet, but I think I've gotten all the rest, all the other panels. Yep, 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 yep. I know I got these. Okay. So it's just... Mario Bros. Circuit, Desert Hills, Shy Guy Bazaar, and Crown City that I haven't gotten the panels for yet. And I don't want to teleport to them. I actually kind of like the gameplay experience of driving on the highway between them, particularly for the free roam mode. That's real nice, I think. Yeah, I'm going the right way. Very good. But yeah, this is a very cool costume. Big fan. In fact, it's pretty similar to the motorbike costume for Peach in Stop gliding! God damn! I hate the controls for this game, I'll tell you that much. It's similar to the Mario Kart Wii, like, motorbike outfit for Peach and Daisy. Daredevil Canyon Loop. Alright, let's see what we got here. Whoa! Alright. Let's fucking go on this way. Okay. I really, the controls in particular that I'm not a fan of are, like, well, we've seen a few instances. The water particularly does not control well. You know? Same with the glider. The glider is way too on rails for my taste. You know? Like, it's decided what the acceptable parameters of you gliding are, and it will not let you deviate from them, which is, like, in some sense, you could make the argument that that's appropriate for like, Mario Kart 7 and 8, but this is supposed to be the open world Mario Kart game. If anything, this should be the game where it feels like you have more control over your own vehicle, particularly when you're in an open-ended setting like gliding through the air. Like, there should be some shit that you could do with a glider that you weren't necessarily intended to do, right? But instead, they actually hard-coded it so that it's, like, only possible to do the things you were intended to within a very, very strict margin, right? It almost feels like an on-rails arcade game, which is not the way I want Mario Kart to feel. You know? Mario Kart Wii felt a lot less like that. And to a certain extent, Mario Kart 7 as well. Although Mario Kart 7 introduced the glider, and as a result, you start to get that problem of, like, on-rails Mario Kart, where it's, like, it's just kind of scripted, like, even when the game is like, okay, you have to turn here, it still feels like you're driving in a very linear fashion. You're driving in a straight line. It's just the straight line that the game has drawn has 90-degree turns. You're still not allowed to deviate from it. Does that make sense? So I have like a couple complaints with the game. Funnily enough, my complaint with the game, none of my complaints with the game have involved, like, the prevalence of, like, the highway sections, right? I actually kind of like the fact that there's an entire world that you can explore on the Mario Kart sort of logic. You know, obviously I think it's a game design problem that for a while the online didn't permit you to not do the fucking highway courses. But I think they're fine. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with them. And I certainly don't think that it's, like, the end of Mario Kart if that's, for that to be, like, the standard online thing. It's just not the greatest game design in the world. Like, every game has its flaws. The big things that I take issue with in the game are the art style being kind of corporate, like, kind of capitalism washed, like, capital washed. Very, like, arcade mobile game-esque, you know, very corporate, very soulless, I think. Ooh. Oh, that's cool too. She's got the jeans, the high-waisted jeans. I like that. And the controls. The controls really do not feel good. Driving on the ground feels fine enough. You know, even still, it took me a while to get used to the drifting. The game has a bias towards forcing you to drive in a straight line. It doesn't have much to do with the track design, because there are things that you can do when you're driving in a straight line. You can charge up a jump, you can snake, you can do mini turbos. But the game is designed in a way that makes snaking more difficult. It makes it more difficult to deviate from the straight line that you are set upon, right? In other Mario Kart games, there are tracks with very long straightaways, but it never really felt like a problem, at least to my recollection, when you play those tracks. Like in Mario Kart Wii, there are some tracks like this, but it didn't feel like a problem because the game doesn't ever really try to force you, like hard code you to only be able to drive in a straight line even when you're on straight line. Does that make sense what I'm saying, or am I just like old man yells at cloud here? So that's my thoughts on the game. Bad controls, not a great art style. I feel like it deprives the game of a lot of soul and spirit that it could otherwise have. You know, the art style is like way too sanitized for my taste. Oh boy. Banned. Bye-bye, powerless theology. Have fun in the void. And by that I mean probably just somebody else's Twitch stream. Oh, there's a panel up there? How do you get up there? Do you... Oh, I see what you do. Ow. Rude. You go up here. Well, there's a panel in there. And there's a panel over there. Alright, shit. I'm just finding hella panels. Well, I guess I don't have any yet, so that makes sense. Let's go... Let's get this one... first, I guess. Let's try to get these panels. Right? There's one. Now, I can get another one, right? How do I get that one over there? I guess, Oh, wait, hold on. Okay. Maybe I would be able to get away with some version of what I'm thinking. No, I can't really do that. No, put me down. There. Wait, do I have to maybe mushroom? Yeah, okay, there we go. That got it. Now I'm going to try to get up on top of that plateau there. Oh, there's another panel up there. Okay, incentive enough for me to try to get up there. Do I have to go over here to do that? I wonder. I do. As all the fucking panels are all in the same place. Damn. No! Damn it. Yeah, wow, it really is all 5 panels. Damn. Easiest 5 panels of my life, dude. Here's number 4. And here comes number 5. God damn, that was easy. Alright. Almost makes up for some of the insane escapades I had to go on to get some of those other panels. Now I actually kind of want to figure out how to get that metal. Unless you're just supposed to do this. Son of a bitch, that is what you're supposed to do. Okay, well. What else did I want to talk about? Oh, yeah. I guess this also relates to what I brought up about the right wing being evil and like destroying food aid. From maybe they talk about this. It said in like the URL. I don't know. Either way, from Al Jazeera live. Israel attacks Syria's Damascus amid fighting in Suwaida. Yeah, Israel has been ever since the government of Assad fell, collapsed, and the new government in Syria took power. Israel has been bombing Syria and actually annexing portions of it. For them, they were like, oh shit, sweet, an opportunity to construct greater Israel. you know, and to smash the Arab states or whatever. So they've gone on, like, you know, civilian bombing campaigns, as is Israel's typical activities. Um, and it has ravaged the state of Syria. There was an opportunity, there was a moment of opportunity where Syria could have, like, rebuilt and actually, like, recovered in a meaningful sense from the Assad regime, from the Assad family regime. But, like, I feel like a decent chunk of that may have been lost specifically because of the way Israel is behaving in Syria, in the rest of the Middle East, being like, nah, we just want to make greater Israel, right? And of course, this is only going to proliferate conflict in the region. Israel being fucking belligerent against states that are ill-equipped to defend themselves. You know, one being Palestine, a extremely destitute statelet that Israel administers militarily with an iron fist when they're not literally, like, killing everybody that lives there. And then Syria, a former failed state that got like 2 seconds of potentially being functional before Turkey and Israel decided to gang up on them. Also, that the, you know, military industrial complex could have some nice experimentation with their new toys or whatever. But, you know, it's really like, it's a fucking moment of like, I hate it here, dude. You know what I mean? You ever see some shit like this and you're just like, I hate it here? Because that's kind of how I feel right now. Israeli army has launched air attacks on the Syrian Defense Ministry and near the presidential palace in the capital Damascus, killing at least 3 and wounding 34. The strikes come after Israel threatened to increase attacks if Syrian government forces are not withdrawn from the south of the country, where there's been fighting between Druze and security forces. Withdraw from their own territory. Yeah. Israel's just, like, cooking up excuses to bomb shit in Israel, because that's in Israel, in Syria, because that's part of their plan to make, like, greater Israel and to get their Lebensraum. You know, they need their Lebensraum or something. Anyways, I'm sorry about the, like, lefty misinfo. The title says as alarm grows over malnourished children or whatever, but they haven't mentioned that in this article. I mean, I guess they're talking about Gaza, which is a hotbed of starvation because there's a genocide going on there. Kind of makes sense, but man, avoid the fire snakes in the tunnel. I'll do this P mission and then I'll probably be done for today. Yay. That P mission. Where am I going now? Mario Bros. Circuit? Alright, seems good to me, bro. Oh, wait, no. It's taken me up to... Well... Maybe it'll let me go that way eventually. Yeah, if I turn right here. That was another P mission. Well, in any case... It's about all I wanted to talk about. I might end it here. Yeah. Not going to get to talk about some of the other stuff till later. Alright, let's close that. Good shit, good shit. Shoutouts to the right wingers that are engaging in the fucking cover up of Jeffrey Epstein's client list and all that shit. Me when I'm definitely not compromised by the yeah. Who's live right now? Mango Zane Hassan. Probably Hassan. Hassan. Oh, it's actually Joe? Oh, I'm still rating Hassan. I'll see y'all next time.